one. Woo! Oh.
This is me jumping into a freshwater cenote, which are fabulous swimming holes that are located all throughout Mexico, particularly in the Yucatan. It was a highlight of a recent family vacation that we took. And we're going to talk all about cenotes in a minute. But first of all, let's go and just talk about Mexico. Mexico, and particularly Cancun and the Yucatan, have long been popular with American tourists. It's quick and easy to get here, only a 4 or 5 hour flight from almost any place in the United States. It's a lot shorter flight than Hawaii. And it's inexpensive as well. You can find cheap flights here. You get down here and there are white sandy beaches and luxury resorts to stay in. Now here in spring 2021, we're still dealing with the COVID pandemic, and there are virtually no places that are open to American tourists. Mexico is an exception. You do have to have a COVID test and go through that protocol to come down here and get back to the United States. But if you're willing to do that, this place is open to you. There are different ways to do this trip. You can come down to Cancun and stay in a luxury resort. You can stay in an all-inclusive place where the food and everything else is provided, and you can sit and enjoy a view like this the entire week. And I've done that before with my wife. This time around, we wanted to mix it up. We wanted a little more adventure. So we stayed about 40 minutes away in Playa del Carmen, which is a great town, a great starting off point if you're looking for a little more adventure on your trip. One quick thought. I'm going to give you my opinion about these luxury resorts. It seems like a lot of people who come down to the Yucatan, whether it be Cancun or Playa, stay in these luxury all-inclusive resorts. And they can be great. There's definitely a place for them, especially if you're traveling with other adults. But if you're traveling with children, with teenagers like I was with my family, you may want to check out a few different options. Sometimes the best value is not to stay in an all-inclusive where drinks and food are included. Kids don't drink, and if they're like my kids, they don't eat much either. So check out your options. You're going to find more freedom and flexibility, perhaps, if you don't stay at these type of resorts. For this trip, we didn't want to do an all-inclusive, partly because we wanted to go with the kids to different restaurants every single night and experience different foods, different flavors of Mexico. This place, which was located right in Playa del Carmen off of 5th Avenue, had the most terrific, amazing flambé shrimp, and the food here was just incredible. We had 3 or 4 fantastic meals on this trip, and some pretty good ones, and maybe a couple not so good ones as well, but the experience of trying different flavors is part of the highlight of this trip, especially with the kids. Another reason to get out of the hotel zone and stay in a place like Playa del Carmen is you're closer to some of the shops and the street vendors, and it's fun to walk in and out of different places and see the different crafts, the different artwork. Let's talk about excursions and adventures. Probably the first place you're going to go to is Chichén Itzá. It's the most famous attraction in the entire Yucatan. This Mayan temple is really something to see. Just keep in mind, it's a 2-hour drive one way, and then you've got to go back. So it's an entire day. We rented a car, which you can do, or you can go as part of a tour and you'll be on a bus. Either way, it's probably something you shouldn't miss. If you only visit Chichén Itzá, you're really missing out. In fact, the ruins down here at Talum were some of my favorite. I actually enjoyed it more than Chichén Itzá. You get to walk up and around these ruins, and they're right along the seaside. In fact, you can go out on a boat and view these from the ocean. It's a really unique place. These buildings, these temples tie into the Mayan religion. I thought it was a fun experience to see this with the family. Now, it is hot. It is really hot, so you've got to bring water. You've got to just plan on that. But these are not to be missed. If you are staying in a resort for a week and all you do is visit Chichén Itzá, you're going to really miss out because these really might be a better experience. It's no secret when you travel to Mexico, regardless of where you stay, be it in a hotel zone or in a small town, people are going to approach you and try to sell you things. They'll sell you things on the beach, they'll probably try to sell you a timeshare, and they'll sell you an adventure. And some of these things are worthwhile. We bought an adventure to Cozumel on a catamaran. I think it cost us about $300 for our entire family of 7 people, but it was worthwhile. Just do your research and negotiate and you'll be fine. As part of the catamaran ride, we spent a couple of hours snorkeling, where we saw a starfish, many starfish in fact. We did see some sea turtles and a stingray up close, but fool that I am, I didn't have my camera ready for that one.
Okay, perfect. Beautiful.
Here we are in Cozumel on this shallow beach, playing around, taking a few pictures. I really feel bad for Cozumel. Their economy relies almost solely on tourism from cruise ships, and they are really suffering during COVID. There's nothing we could do. All we could really do is buy a few souvenirs and wish them well, but certainly hopeful that things will get back to normal there.
Nice picture.
Let's talk now about cenotes, and that's what you're looking at here is the first cenote that we visit on our trip. Cenotes were kind of the surprise of the trip we took to Mexico. We were expecting to go to 1 or 2. We ended up going to 6 of them. So what are they? Well, cenotes are these sinkholes that exist all throughout the Yucatan. There are thousands of them, and there are at least dozens of them that are available for tourists to go visit and to swim in. Many cenotes resemble caves that are filled with fresh water that have an opening above, and you get to see these beautiful limestone formations. This first one that we visit had stalactites all throughout.
Yeah, sure.
Now what we found is some of these are more commercial than others. Even though these are all natural, many of them have separate entrances that are kind of bored out, or separate tunnels that kind of connect so you can easily access the bottom of the cenote. A couple of them that we visit were exceptionally deep, at least over 100 feet. And there were scuba divers that were going down in to explore the different caverns. After we visit our first cenote, everyone liked it and was impressed. And so we made an effort over the next few days to see a number of additional cenotes. This is the second one that we visit. It's called Ik Kil. It's a large cenote, very popular out near Chichén Itzá. Now, this place is a lot like a swimming pool. It's very commercialized, but it's beautiful as well. You have these vines that stretch from the top all the way down to the water level. And there's a lot of people here. There's a big jumping platform, and you have very nice changing rooms. I think there's even a hotel on site and several restaurants. So very commercialized, but a cool place to visit, just not very quaint. The next cenote that we visit was near the Talum ruins. This place is called the Gran Cenote, And it's well known because it has some wildlife, specifically turtles. We saw all sorts of turtles swimming throughout. Also, you want to make sure you bring your goggles to this cenote. And a lot of these cenotes are really neat to explore with goggles on so you can see the underwater formations. It's a whole different experience if you are wearing goggles and you can explore down underneath the surface. So definitely bring your snorkel gear. And you can rent gear at this place as well, but it is expensive. I would recommend just bringing your own goggles and snorkel gear. The last day of our trip, we had open, and we absolutely could have gone to the beach, but my kids, and especially my wife, wanted one more cenote adventure. So we looked online and we found a cenote that was highly recommended with great reviews on TripAdvisor. So we got in our car and we drove about an hour inland to Cenote Noria. Now, getting to this place, the last couple of miles you had to go down this dirt road, and we didn't see anybody else on this road, so we didn't know what to think. But we finally arrived at Cenote Noria. Because this place was independently owned, they were a little bit more loose with the rules. They let you jump right into the cenote from above, which a lot of other places don't let you do. David, yawn? We had this place almost entirely to ourselves. And so we went down and we swam around in the water and enjoyed the stalactites, and it was really refreshing. It was a hot day out, and that water is cool but not cold. One thing to like about a lot of these places is they already have the gear ready for you. You don't need to worry about life jackets, for instance. They have them ready for you. You can just put them on and jump in and swim around. Now, if you're lucky, the good folks at Cenote Noria will negotiate a deal for you, and you can get a homemade taco lunch after you're done swimming. And listen, these tacos were fantastic. They hit the spot, and we were hungry for them after having swam around for a while. After lunch, it was time to explore another cenote that was on the other side of the property. It was a short bike ride, but one of the guides from Cenote Noria helped us down. And this one, although it was small, had just crystal clear water, and it was fun to snorkel around for a minute. But wait, there's more. After we were done exploring the cenotes, and after we'd had our homemade taco lunch, we got to go on the amazing zipline circuit. We each put on a harness and then followed our guide up into the trees, where we clipped in and then sped through the forest, right side up and upside down. Noria is hardly the only place in the Yucatan to have a cool zip line, but this one was pretty good. I've been on a lot of these, from Belize to Costa Rica, and there was a high adventure one I did in Peru a few years ago that was pretty amazing, but this one was one of my favorites. Overall, I was just really impressed with the value of this place. To go into the cenotes, to go on the zip line, to have the homemade taco lunch, all together for 7 people, we spent about $150 US, and it was an amazing last day of our trip. I highly recommend Cenote Noria to anyone vacationing in Playa del Carmen or Cancun. I will leave a link to their location in the description for anyone interested. My final thoughts: should you go to Mexico on your next vacation? Absolutely. The weather is warm, the beaches are great, the food tastes good. But if you go, just make sure to get outside of the hotel zone. Get away from your resort for a day or two and visit some of these cenotes. They are memorable and you'll have a great experience if you do. It'll add to your trip.
Climb up it.